그 발표자 왕 교수님 들어오셨어요. 교수님.
지금 첫 번째 그 교수님, 송 교수님 들어오셨나요?
네네, 다 들어오셨어요.
아, 그럼 이제 시작할까요? 다 계신 거예요?
네네.
Hello everyone, it's 1:31, so it's time to get started. This session is about, this is a joint session with the Roman University of China and the CASPA. And today's topic is about what? Professor No, what is the theme of this session again? This year, the theme of the conference is how companies are responding to post-corona COVID-19. And today we will learn lessons regarding how Chinese companies are responding to this post-corona era. And first, let's have the welcome speech from Professor Kang Seung-wan. He's the executive director of the CASPA, and he will give us some welcome speech, and then we will listen to 3 talks from Chinese scholars. Okay, Professor Kang, please join me welcoming Professor Kang for the welcome speech.
Right. Thank you for your welcoming me. And my name is Seung-wan Kang. I'm the Chief Executive Director of CASPA, and I'm the professor of Gachon University. And actually, the President Lee want to be here together, but he's in the other meeting. The master attend the other meeting, so I'm giving the welcome speech instead of the president. And please understand my wearing of the face mask because I'm in the on-site, off-site right now, and so I have to wear the mask in the building. So and I really welcome everybody join for this Korea-China and China-Korea forum. So please allow me to read Professor Lee, the president's invitation letter, some part of his invitation letter. And so, hi, I'm Youngman Lee, president of the Korean Academic Business Administration Society, CASPA. Our planet is suffering from COVID-19, but this does not mean that the company management or everyday life should be stopped. In response, CASPA determined to hold the Summer Convergence Academic Conference with online. I would like to invite all of you to join this conference in discussing the strategic directions of companies that are opening the post-corona era. Youngman Lee, President, the Korean Academic Society of Business Administration. Thank you. And so actually, I have been in the Hangzhou the last year, and so this year we host for Chinese scholars to join our company, our conference, but the situation does not allow this issue. But hopefully, the next year, I expect to see you face to face in China or in Korea. Yeah, so I'm sure the next year president, the CASPA president, he is the Yonsei University scholar, and he has deep understanding of Chinese companies and Chinese business because he majored in the international business. So I'm sure this cooperation and this forum, Korea-China, China-Korea forum, should be continued in the next year also. Yeah. Thank you for your joining this conference, and I want to leave the Professor Lee, the president, the warm welcoming intention to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kang, for your and the warm welcoming remarks of the President Young-Myun Lee. And after this one, we have 3 in our lineup. And we have the first talk is from Professor Song Hwa, second talk from Professor Wang Chongfeng, and third one from Ms. Li Xia. And the first one is from, again, Professor Song Hwa, a professor of Renmin University of China. And his talk is about how financial service providers support SCMEs through supply chain finance under the impact of COVID-19 from the perspective of expectancy theory. Professor Song, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so then you can have about 20 minutes, and after your talk, we have on discussant, Professor Bien Wonglong, and for about 5 to 10 minutes, he will give some comments or questions, okay?
Okay, fine.
Then, yeah, it's good to go, please.
Okay, thanks to Professor King and also the Professor Kang. Actually, I'm very pleased to attend the COSPAS conference in this year. Actually, this is my second time to attend the COSPAS the conference, but of course, I know this year is very special, this kind of specific times. And in this years, I want to share one of my research recently is the how financial service providers and support SMEs on the impact of COVID-19. Okay, as everyone knows, since the at the beginning of this year, since the outbreak of the COVID-19, it caused a serious problems to many enterprises and the business, especially the SMEs, because most of the enterprises, including the SMEs, face a big challenge of the stagnant. They are especially how to recover the production is a big challenges. One of the challenges of the recovering the production is the capital shortage. Okay. And most of the research have been mentioned, the SMEs are more vulnerable to economic shocks because the instability of their business, especially the financial vulnerabilities. For example, a professor from the Tsinghua University, Professor Zhu, also made investigations during the COVID-19. They found it, the most of the SMEs in China, their cash flow will only lasted less than 3 months if they are faced without any external support, just because of the pandemic. So how to support the MNCs to recover the production is a big challenge in China. So our researchers just want to explore how to support the SMEs for multi-stakeholders and to mitigate the impact of the pandemics. So in this context or under these circumstances, the financial service provider is a key players to help the SMEs to recover the production, to set the working capital problems down. Okay, so FMCs usually refer to organization to provide the financial services, especially the service relevant to financing. So usually when we talking about financial FSPs, it mainly included 2 kind of entities. The one is the provide direct capitals to company. Usually these kind of SPs are commercial banks. And another one is a specific players just provide our services for information gathering as well as the risk mitigation to facilitate the financing transactions. So no matter which kind of entity, the both of the financial service provider to be considered to support SMEs to help them to raise the funds in these during very specific times. So our papers want to explore how FSPs consider to support SMEs and make corresponding adjustment in facing of the SMEs on the impact of pandemic. Okay. So first of all, we briefly review of the literatures and which kind of topics we make the investigation and make the research to cover, discover these kind of issues. So first of all, as everyone knows, SMEs are face a big challenge of the raise funds because any financial institute are reluctant to lend money in the normal times just because of information asymmetry. Because usually SMEs are face ex-ante information asymmetry as well as ex-post information asymmetry. Okay, so and these kind of phenomena is more serious since during the COVID-19 period, because previously when we're talking about SME financing, it more just under the circumstances of the stable state. Okay, but nowadays we are faced a big external shocks because of the pandemics. So the FSPs to have to conduct a significant adjustment in face of the external shocks. But how the FSP respond to the COVID-19 or pandemic? These are different or diversified fundings. Some of the scholars said FSP may reduce provisions of the financing and the investment in response to negative shocks because they consider the potential economic losses and it will be cause an increasement of the defaults. Okay, so that's the one kind of the research findings. And another, on the contrary, another kind of the research discovered, usually under these very specific times or contexts, FSPs would be actively take measures to support their clients because it's based on the motivation of performing to the social responsibility. So from the previous research, we found a research gaps. When some of the scholars proceed that under COVID-19, FSP will be dynamically financing for the SMEs. But on the other side, the rest of the researchers have proposed they will retreat it. Okay, so how the FSP make a trade-off between the economic performance as well as social responsibility, especially during this very specific period, is the key issues we want to cover. Okay, the researchers of these papers are mainly based from perspective of the expectancy series. Okay, because as everyone knows, according to the expectancy series, there's three issues very, very important in this series. The first of the issues or factors, elements is expectancy. The expectancy refers to the probability that one's effort will result in achievement of the expected goals. And another one is instrumental mentality, which refers to individuals' beliefs that when we receive a reward or satisfactory outcome, it meets performance of the expectations. And another one is the valence, is the individual's perceived value of the outcome arising from the actions they adopted or they are taken. Okay, so in these papers, we base on the standpoint of the expectancy series, we mainly discuss the two key determinants. The first, expectancy, especially during these specific times. And another one is the valence. Okay, so how they regarded the values or outcomes if they are provided the financing for the SMEs. Okay, so according to the previous studies, when we look at expectancy, they are usually divided by the several levels, including individual levels, activity levels, the firm's levels, in-firm's levels, as well as environment levels. So based on that, we make investigation and make a research by three levels. The first levels is the firm's levels. For example, some of the research have been mentioned, the size of the FSPs, the financial resources is positively also associated with ability or to withstand the risk. And the second levels we want to cover is the inter-firms levels, okay? Because any financing is happened between the upstream and downstreams, and even between the financial institute and the SMEs. Okay, so that's the second levels we want to cover. And the third level is institution or environment levels. Okay, these levels refer to including the policies and regulations, which when they face a big external shocks, how they, which kind of policies and the regulation will be taken, okay, to promote the FSPs to support the SMEs, okay. And another one is the balance. The financing balance, we are so care about the three kind of the issues. The first is financing volume. As everyone knows, the financing volume increases, the business scale of the FSP has also been expanded, and the SMEs will be received more financing to cope with the crisis caused by pandemic. And another is the rates, okay? Because higher the rates, it means the FSPs can get more profit as a risk compensation. But meanwhile, it means the SMEs will take higher level of the costs. And the third kind of balance we are covered is the default rate, okay? Because higher the default rate increase the bankruptcy risk of the SPs. Except these three factors cover related to the balance, we also consider another two kind of contextual issues. The one is the custom industrial, because maybe the different industrial have a different impact on the financing. And another one is the custom products. It means the financial solution, because maybe to different kind of the SMEs will be provided a diversified or variety kind of the financial solutions. So we're also considering the varieties of the solutions of the financings as well, okay? So this is the overall frameworks of our researches. The one is we are considered the financing expectancy by the firm's level, and the institution levels. And another one, we also consider the financing balance based on these above the 5 issues we discussed. And based on these, we look at how to financing, how the FSP adjusted the strategies financing to SMEs during the COVID-19. Okay. So this is the general kind of frameworks of our researches. Of course, during these investigation as well as researches, we also consider a different type of SPs. After a while, I will discuss because the FSPs have a different kind of types. Maybe different types of SPs have a different attitude towards the financing to SMEs. Okay, so we conducted online survey since this February to the end of the March. Okay, the beginning of this March, and we make a survey of the 312 FSPs, which including the commercial banks. Almost all the big commercial banks we contacted and make a service, and also included small loan companies, collateral companies, factoring companies, as well as the supply chain financial service platform with some of the fintech companies. Okay, and in our researches, we divide all research by the 2 parts. The first part is adopted descriptive statistical analysis to demonstrate the results of FSP's financing expectancy and the balance. And the second part, we also adopted the non-parametric hypothesis analysis method to further to explore the differences in the factors among the diversified or diverse type of the FSPs. So that's the methodologies being used in our researches. So data analysis, that's general situations of the samples we investigated. Okay, just I have mentioned because when we're talking about FSPs, financial service providers, usually scholars, when they research FSPs, it will be related to diversified or distinctive type of entities. So one of the typical entities of FSPs is financial institutions, okay, such as commercial bank and the non-bank financial institute, such as the smaller companies, factoring companies, and so on. Okay, and another kind of the FSPs where you already covered is we call it the credit enhanced FSPs. It means they connected financial institute with numerous SMEs and play an important role in providing crediting, debt money, and support, and so on. For example, the fintech companies are the entity, one of the entities of the credit enhanced FSPs. So in our researches, we classify all these FSPs by three types: the commercial bank, traditional commercial banks, as well as the non-banks financial institute, and the credit enhanced FSPs. Okay. So this is the general characteristics among the different diverse type of the SFPs. Okay. This is the expectancy factors we are investigating. That's the results for it. For example, when we look at the challenges of the firm's levels factors when FSP decided to finance for the SMEs, the first of the issues, for example, lack of talents. Okay, and we found it showed statistic significant differences between the commercial bank as well as the credit enhanced FSPs. Okay, and when we look at the lack of the capital, it more reflected the great differences between the commercial bank and non-banks financial institutes. Okay, and the lack of information capability, it also showed differences between the commercial banks and the credit enhanced FSPs, especially if the commercial banks comply the lack of enough or solid information capability to support financing for SMEs. Okay, that's the firm's levels results. This is the inter-firms level factors we are considered. For example, the core company not cooperate with you. A big company has a lot of problem, or have a problem cooperate with insurance and cooperate with other banks and other financial institutes and so on. And we also compare the differences among these three types of FSPs. Okay, so this is the institution levels. On the institution levels, we consider the following issues. For example, the open public data. Okay, and encourage the core companies to cooperate with the FSPs, and for example, to regulate or restrict delayed pay and so on. Okay, and we also explore the differences between these two. So that's the expectancy parts we explore. As to the balance of the financing, we especially consider the financing volume, financing rates, and the default rate. And we also compare the differences among the three. Okay, and we also consider the industry. So which industry after after outbreak of COVID-19, they will decrease or increase support for SMEs. Okay, so we show from this paper is show especially in the public service, IT, industry, and so on. There's no differences between the pandemic and during and after pandemic, but it does have a great differences on the others. Okay, this is also the solution for that. It shows after COVID-19, the financing based on taxation analysis, and the financing with insurance, and the financing based on debt mining will increase significantly. Okay, so that's the statistical result for that. So what's meaning for that? It means from our analysis, it found on the impact of a pandemic, market level factors have lowered the FSP's expectancy of the financing to SMEs. For example, the firm's level based on the results, we found lack of sufficient financing, resources, and information capability a common challenge for some of the FSPs. On the inter-firms level, lack of coordination with the focal firm is a prominent the pain points for nearly half. It means nearly half of the FSP complain for that. Okay, and most FSPs have claimed strong demands for support from the peer FSP, like commercial bank, insurance company. And on the institution levels, we found the most FSPs ask for support for opening public data from the public administration and honoring online due diligence because up to date, our central government is not allowed online due diligence. Okay, so most of FSPs call for online due diligence. Of course, we also found differences. For example, the commercial banks are more hope to improve their information capability and enhance collaboration with the focal fund. But when we look at the credit-enhanced FSPs are in great need of the capital supplier. It means the lack of enough capitals to help the SMEs and increasing liquidity and support from the peer FSPs. Okay, so that's the one kind of fundings from our research. And another is financing balance. According to the analysis of the FSP's balance, we also found some of the outcomes. So most of the surveyed FSPs will actively undertake social responsibility in financing to SMEs, and the commercial banks are main forces. It means they are main parties to sustain to finance for the MSCEs. Okay, but all FSPs also express strong concern of the economic performance, which many reflected in the different financing willingness to the diversified industrial. And we found FSPs tend to provide more financing to SMEs in which industry? Usually in medical industry and the public service industry. Okay, that's a two industrial. They want to even increase financing for the SMEs. But most of the FSPs will reduce financing, the level of the capital provisions to SMEs, especially in construction industry, energy industrial, and the trade industry. Okay, it means these industrial have lots of the challenge in the futures. Okay, and another kind of the related regulations we found is the essence in construction, energy, and the trade industrial may still confront with the capital supply shortage. Okay, and the SMEs choose appropriate FSPs and financial products to access capitals by considering their own status. And more, based on the research, most of the FSP are call for information sharing with the SMEs in order to provision for the SMEs. Okay, on the standpoint of the public administration and regulators, based on our researches and investigations, it shows for formulate policies that constitute challenge to FSP, especially provide more support for the credit enhanced FSPs. Okay, this is one. Another one is the FSPs. There are potential advantages for different type of FSPs. Cooperation between them will be effectively enhance SMEs financing activities. Okay, and reduce their risks. That's our contribution because we provide a more comprehensive insight toward how FSP support SMEs in such a specific time, because although there's a lot of investigations covered with the SME issues, but most of the survey and most of the research are on the standpoint of SME, but not on the standpoint of capital suppliers. Okay, this our research is first on the standpoint of the suppliers, not the borrowers, on the standpoint of the lenders. Okay, and we also identify differences in anticipation in financing to SMEs among different types of FSPs. Okay, and we also applying expectancy theory to analyze the potential behavior decision of the SMEs. Of course, we also have limitations of our research. The first, the sample in our research is limited. So maybe the results are not applicable to all kinds of SME. And another one, the sampling time is early period of the pandemic, in not to recover after April. Okay, And this study only classify FSPs into 3 types. Maybe in the future, we should probe more types of FSPs to explore their behavior. So that's the all of our researches. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Song. In fact, this is a joint session of CASPA and the Renmin University of China. So his presence and his participation means a lot. And thank you for your time again. And he is professor of supply chain management. And the discussant is the professor of finance and Professor Bian Wang, professor of finance at School of China at Songjianguan University. And he will give some remarks or comments on his Professor Song's paper. Professor Bian, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, so many thanks for Professor Song's wonderful speech, and it's a great honor for me to have the chance to discuss Professor Song's paper. And Professor Song has published a lot of English and Chinese papers related to supply chain financing. So must be an expert in this field. I really enjoy reading the story and I learn a lot from it. Actually, this topic is quite significant because SME financing has always been an important and challenging topic. And we know that SMEs play a critical role in economic growth and job creation. And the access of finance to SME is limited due to information asymmetries, a lack of collaterals, among others. So according to a worldwide survey by Beck et al. 2008, the share of bank loans to small firms averages 11%. The share of bank loans to media firms averages 13%, but it averages to 32% for large firms. So actually the access of finance to SMEs is always limited. Therefore, Professor Song started to focus exclusively on SME financing during the COVID-19 pandemic is very significant and important, given that the credit crunch for SMEs is more severe in economic recessions. Except for banks, this study also covers other financial service providers, such as the non-bank financial institutions, the fintech service providers, the supply chain service providers, etc. So based on this survey, they found that SME finance is still challenging for FSPs due to lack of financial resources, institutional support, and the capability to collect information. While the default rate for SMEs is higher, the majority of SRPs did not reduce SME financing during the pandemic, and even increased their financing to SMEs at a relatively lower loan rate. So financing support for SMEs shows great heterogeneity across industries, with more credit to medical and public service industries and less credit to construction, energy, and trade industries. So here is some of my suggestions to this study. First, I think the title, maybe it's better to have a more concise title because the title is too long for me. So maybe alternative title could be SME financing under the COVID-19 pandemic evidence for China. I think this title will be more focused on the theme of this study. Second is the trade-off between performance and the social responsibility for SMPs. So actually, these studies have found that many SMPs even increased their credit or financing support to SMEs during the pandemic at a relatively lower rate. I guess maybe this result is mainly driven by the state-owned FMPs. So actually, I think this study could focus more analysis on ownership type, whether this result is mainly driven by the state-owned FMPs, because in China, we know that state-owned financial institutions is mainly policy-driven, not market-driven. So maybe their existence mainly drives the result. Third, I suggest further investigation on SME financing of different types of financial banks. I don't I don't know whether they just investigate the small banks, but actually small banks have comparative advantages in soft information collection. With the improvement of information technologies, actually large banks show economy of scale in SME financing. So for commercial banks, we can divide them into the national banks. The national banks refers to the main 5 banks and joint stock commercial banks in China, and the local banks, the city commercial banks and rural commercial banks, and check different reactions of for these questions in the survey to check whether the small banks has comparative advantages in SME financing. And last, I suggest analysis on the heterogeneity among commercial banks. So actually, for this study, they just analyzed the heterogeneity among commercial banks, non-bank financial institutions, and credit-enhanced SMPs. But actually, these classifications are more susceptible to stream values. I know that majority of those questions just as a dummy variable, so 1 or 2 just have 2 values, but a lot of questions just ranges from 1 to 5. So actually they are more influential to the extreme values. And especially given that observations for commercial banks are only 37. So my suggestion is first add the median comparison for these 3 types of FMPs. And another one is just divide this sample into 3 quantiles or equal sizes, for example, the large, medium, small FMPs, and check the results. So here my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you to the professors. I really regarded you gave them very, very contributions, suggestions, and based on your feedbacks, we will make improvement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Professor Song, for your presentation, and Professor Bien for your wonderful comments on the paper. So we are on good track of time management, but just in case, we will go on to the next presenter, and then after all 3, we can have some questions from the floor, okay? The second topic is from Professor Wang Chongfeng. He is a professor of management at the Qingdao University. His talk is about going ahead or retreat, the dilemma of Ishibao's transfer of modified plastics to melt-blown material. Professor Wang?
Hi.
Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, please upload the slides, and again, you have about 20 minutes for the presentation. Please welcome Professor Wang for his talk.
Hello, everyone. It's my great honor to be here and addressing the Korean Society of Administration. Today, I want to talk about the 2 cases. One is Ishibao Co-Limited, and the other one is Genuine Jade Trading. Where I want to talk about advance during the COVID-19 period. I'm coming from the Business School of Qingdao University, and I'm the director of Management Case Study Center. And my academic interest in
Professor Wang, we are not hearing you well. Please recheck your microphone setting, please. We are not hearing you well. For now, nothing. Can you say something?
Is that okay?
Okay, you sound very distant. Is there any way of adjusting your microphone setting, please? Okay, while he is adjusting his setting, I will give you some introduction of the discussant for the second paper. He is Professor Chan Bo. He is a professor of marketing at the School of China of Songkran University.
Is that okay now?
Yeah, it's better. So maybe you can stay closer to the microphone, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So, can you hear me, Simon? Okay. I'm the director coming from the Management Case Study Center from Qingdao University. And today I'm to have two cases from Chinese COVID-19. It looks like a black swan event. Some scholars have divided this period in the three stages. The first stage is the epidemic isolation period, and the second stage is epidemic relief period, and then the third stage. We all know that, like Professor Song mentioned earlier, for the SMEs, many companies face financial problems and even go bankruptcy. But our teams also see that maybe it looks like an opportunity for some companies during this period, such like the K1, Qingdao Export Plastic Co. Limited. The company was an alumni company of our university. It was established in 2007 and is a national high-tech enterprise. The company's main products is high-performance modified plastic, and its customers is mainly in the automotive and home appliance industries, such as hair health and Shanghai Motor. At the very beginning, February 2020, just like other companies, their orders plummeted in both automotive and home appliance market. The factory's resumption of work was delayed by the government, so Ishibao's management team, they need to find out what to do next. What should they do in the unexpected crisis? The second question is, how could Ishibao's special modified plastic find the right customer? Before we discuss the question, let's see a short introduction video.
青岛宜士宝塑料有限公司成立于2007年4月，主要生产专用色母、染色皂粒、家电汽车专用料等，年生产能力超2万吨。受疫情影响，宜士宝汽车料订单骤减，迅速转产口罩核心原料聚丙烯溶喷料。仅用15天时间，宜士宝便实现了从研发到批量生产的全过程。新产品具有纯净度高、气味小等优势，深受市场欢迎。但在转型过程中，宜士宝也遇到了不少难题。
疫情来临以后呢，我们首先面临的这个订单问题。订单呢，因为以往的这个家电和汽车行业，他们的订单锐减。基于我们原来就是做改性塑料的，而我们也有就是这个比较成熟的这个研发团队，所以我们就第一时间做出决策，进行了这个聚丙烯溶喷料的研发。而这个聚丙烯溶喷料，也就是大家说的这个口罩布的中间层。经过了近1个星期的这个研发呢，我们取得了这个突破性的进展，于2月24号的时候得到了这个资质的认证。而这个时候呢，企业就面临的一个问题就是要量产，然后要打开销售渠道， 需要一个这个过程，用了下游的销售渠道，很快的在我们就是给我们在订单上达到了供不应求的一种状态。我们现在的产能呢，日产能是40吨到50吨，现在月产能呢是1500吨到2000吨的这样月产能。
请同学们思考，疫情初期口罩市场有何特征呢？后疫情时代，怡士宝又该做出哪些改变呢？
So from the short video, we can see that we'll find some opportunities during the COVID-19 period. Because of the rapid spread of COVID-19, the face mask has become a hard currency of people all over the world. The demand side is very high. It was estimated about as many as 530 million masks needed daily. The key materials, melt-brown materials, is originally within the business scope of Yi Shi Bao, but as we can see, face lots of problems. So question one, should Yi Shi Bao switch to melt-brown? Yes, from the result we can see it has switched to melt-brown materials, but every first beginning, these technical problems, the lack of the cash, and their production line needs to be modified, and they need to get the qualification certificate from the government. We can use a simple SWOT analysis to try to figure out if Yi Shi Bao needs to switch to melt-brown or not. Because of their R&D technological teams and their good relationship with the local government, even if their lack of financial support, they have made the decision to switch to melt-brown materials. For the technological side, our team, we went to Yi Shi Bao about several times during this period. We found that despite they are in the forefront of the industry, and there are some other key success factors. The technological teams, they are playing together, and they have a very good team atmosphere here. For question B, they worry about their market channels. Even if they have overcome the technological problems, we found this picture from the Yi Shi Bao CEO, Ms. Luan Rong's WeChat account. With the small word theory and the new technology of the new media of WeChat, Ms. Luan Rong could promote the company's new products, the melt-brown materials, to their business-to-business customers. For the cash flow problems, the production line modification, they adopt the installment payment, and they ask their customers to pay advance before receiving the goods. With a good relationship with the local government, these three pictures shows Yi Shi Bao just get their certificate from the government very quickly. It's only take about 7 days to complete equipment transformation and just 3 days to receive more than 1,500 tons order. They earn a lot. The monthly profits was worth as much as half a year's profits in any other year. They earn about X millions a month. Although Yi Shi Bao's output was reached their maximum capacity of 1,500 tons, but the face mask market is still in great demand. So our question is this profitability sustainable? Will it turn into another bubble? This is a question their management team must be considered. So after the boom in May 2020, the epidemic in China was almost under control, and people could return to their normal life and work. Rapid growth in the melt-brown materials began to fall, and there are fierce competition. Yi Shi Bao's first move advantage weakened, and orders fell to less than 20 tons per day. questions exist. They need to go advance or retreat, consider about the competitors, consider about the automobile economy is recovering, and the foreign markets needs a higher EU and American standards, and they need to overcome a big technological gap to produce high quality melt blown materials. We can use the basic theory of the principles of market supply and demand to try to analyze each of decision. Due to the academic prevention needs, consumers sounds like are not sensitive to the price changing in the face masks. We found that during this period, customers would likely to pay about 25 to 50 Chinese yuan for a mask during the academic period. So the demand for the face masks looks like a vertical line. But there are high uncertainty for the future of the mask demand. So I'm not sure which curve would you think will be in the future, in the near future, and I'm not sure about the price of the face mask. Is 1 Chinese yuan or 50 Chinese yuan. It's really a matter for the future decisions of Easybal's management team. So how should Easybal respond to the post-corona era? Let's leave the question here and go to the next case. Next case we prepared for is the Genuine Jade Trading Center. It's another interesting story. The company was a platform of live broadcasting based and established in 2014 in Henan province, which was known as the hometown of jade carving. It was interesting that Genuine Jade has founded a Jeju Island Association of Korea as their important partners and try to sell honey and makeup of Korean products online. Let's see another video.
这里呢是我的家乡镇平县，它位于河南省西南部，是中国玉雕之乡、中国地毯之乡、中国金鱼之乡。我们镇平人商品经济意识强，有大众创新、万众创业的优良传统。从2000年，我们县就开始涉足电子商务了。目前，我们县年电子商务的交易额突破了200亿元。作为镇平电子商务协会的会长呢，我和我的团队一直以来一直致力于镇平电商的一个发展。2018年3月份，我们就和淘宝直播联合成立了全国第一个珠宝产业带的官方直播基地。2年多来，国内知名电商平台、快手电商、抖音电商等纷纷在镇平设立直播基地。现在仅这3大平台就汇集3000多个直播商家。为了发挥电商的集聚效应，协同联动的发展，2019年我们规划建设了以大数据为基础、优势供应链为支撑的梧桐树新经济产业园。园区里分别设有品牌电商基地、跨境电商总部基地、系统众创空间、进口特色商品馆、玉溪南农产品集采中心、智能仓储分拣中心、新媒体综合中心等7大区域。梧桐树产业园作为支撑镇平电商发展的重要组成部分，为我们镇平电商的发展提供高品质的产品供应链，一直是园区发展的核心任务和重中之重。那么从2019年9月份开始，我们就积极的与韩方进行接洽。先后2次邀请韩国济州岛商会会长一行和济州岛经济通商振兴院文院长一行到镇平考察，让文院长一行深入直播间了解我们镇平直播电商的发展势头。2020年6月份，经过3轮的考核，在同时竞争的苏州、广州和成都之中，镇平以其深厚的电商基础和庞大的直播团队的优势，最终成为了韩国济州岛商品展示馆2020年的官方合作伙伴。
通过这个事情呢，让我有了很深的感触。今年这个疫情让这个世界发生了太多的改变，有的放缓了，有的停滞了，但有的变快了。比如说电商，比如说直播。如果不是因为我们在电商和直播方面的实力，我们也不会成为韩方的这样的一个合作伙伴。特色馆正式启动以后呢，我们会同时启动线上和线下2个市场。线下市场呢，我们依托正品的区位优势，让我们周边省市的人们不出国门就可以买到高品质的韩国产品。线上市场呢，我们的所有的电商通过不同的平台，把我们优质的电商产品销售到全国各地。所以，我相信，随着韩国济州岛特色产品馆的在正品的设立，必将会带动我们双方从经贸到人文很多方面的交流和合作。这就是电商的力量。
So let's compare the Ishibao with Genuine Jade. For Genuine Jade, yes, consumers have more time and to see the living broadcasting, but the competition is fierce, so they try to sell Korean products, the Jeju Island honey and the cosmetics. As a result, it's really good. They sell about 300 bottles of honeys and about 1,100 bottles of cosmetics within 5 minutes. And for the Ishibao, we can say that the face mask demand goes up and down. So they also face the dilemma to advance or retreat. For the comparative analysis, we can see Ishibao is a manufacturing company. Its product is face masks, materials, and it's a standard product. But for Genuine Jade, it was in the service industry, and the jade products is a luxury or non-essential. According to Professor Lin, we use planning farms and raising pigs to compare Ishibao and Genuine Jade's reaction to the COVID-19. Ishibao looks like the planning farm, so they want to be the top player in the melt brown materials, and their pinpoints is can the product sell with the new market. But for Genuine Jade, they want to enlarge their product space, and their pain points is what if customers dislike the new products. In this case, it's Korean honey and the cosmetics pack. For Ishibao, their criteria are the technology, funding, and qualification certificate. But for Genuine Jade, they are relied on the customer loyalty and the product development. For me, we can use a simple two-dimensional quadrant to try to compare these two cases. Before the epidemic, I think Ishibao and Genuine Jade try to selling existing products to the existing market. But from the innovation perspective, during the COVID-19 period, Ishibao is trying to using the exploratory innovation strategy to sell their melt brown materials, the new products to the new B2B markets. But for Genuine Jade, they looks like using the exploitative innovation strategy to try to sell the related products to their existing customers, and it's the existing market. In summary, according to Professor Tang, we use the 4 C's about the context, content, communities, and connections. If we concern on only one thing, I think it's the collaboration. From the first side, we can see that Ishibau's social network, the main change about their Ishbao is the right side. Ishbao try to connect to the new melt brown customers, but for genuine jade, we can say their social network change is mainly on the left side. We try to get the Korean honey manufacturers as the key partners, and we need to also look at the blue node. For the Chinese government and the Korean government play an important role in the social network. For the Chinese government, it's about the certificate of the melt brown, and the Korean government their endorsement about the honey quality and makeup quality. Within 5 years, if you are in the same business you are in now, you are going to be out of business from Philip Kotler. And we leave the questions for the audience: should Ishbao and genuine once or retreat? Maybe we can use a yin-yang model in Chinese traditional culture to try to get the momentum. For the further reading, I recommend to read the Professor Xu Guangjian from Renmin University and Professor Xu Jingyue's case from Renmin University too. And please let me have the chance to thank Professor Xu to ask me to attend the conference. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wang, for interesting cases in China. And about these, Professor Chan will make some comments or questions. Professor Chan, are you ready?
Yeah. Thanks, Professor Wang. I enjoyed your presentation very well. I think you have presented two very interesting cases on how the Chinese companies deal with the COVID-19 after this pandemic. Now we have seen, it reminds me of the memories that during the February and March, we see that the price increasing for the mask market and like hand sanitizers, this kind of market. For me, these two companies, like if we make comparison between these two, they are quite clear to me that they are dealing with two different type of markets. Like the Ishbao is, if I understand it right, it's mainly working on the producing the plastics for some automobile companies that it's raw material for another industry, right? So for the genuine jade trading companies, like they are like a platform. They are trading the jade for like the producer and the customers. So for me, that this kind of a comparison is quite clear that for the Ishbao, the COVID-19 pandemic has a huge impact on its production and its customer markets, because during this pandemic, the production of the automobile may be to a degree ceased. So they do not need so much of this raw material. So their production facilities are not working during that pandemic. So I'm not sure that I'm not quite familiar with this technological details, like how difficult is it for them to transform the production of the plastic to the production of the melt blown material. For me, it seems not that difficult, because they can do the whole transformation in just 7 days. So it's quite easy for them to do that. So during this pandemic, when you have the facilities, you have the production to do something, you can easily just transform to another industry, which it can create a huge profits. But for the jade trading company, for me, I understand it from the way that during this pandemic, most of the e-commerce actually they are impacted less than the actual industry in reality, because when people, we know that in China that we had almost a month of lockdown of the whole country. Like the people do not go out to go to gatherings. They do not, even during that Chinese New Year period. So people shopping online become activities that people do for leisure on the internet. So I think that for that business, for the jade trading, online jade trading business, they might not be impacted a lot. And in the meantime, when they find, I don't know whether about this Korean Jeju Island, these products are just happened during the pandemic or before that. I think it might it might look like they have already planned this kind of a transformation. So it's quite much easier for them to transfer the existing business to another sector because they simply manage the platform. They can easily use the same channel, the same customer to sell the same products for them. But something that I might have some kind of questions is that when we talk about the Jade, if I understand it right, Jade, the customers for Jade is probably the a little bit aged person, maybe like 30, 40, over 40. But for this Jeju Island product cosmetics, maybe their customer a little bit younger. So I'm not sure whether when they transform the market, transfer the product from the Jade to the Korean cosmetics, Korean honey, whether there will be some like loss of customers in the meantime. Secondly, I think when we talk about the market, is that whether the two companies, they should retreat or should advance. For me, that it depends on how the market goes. Like for the mask, this product is quite special. So during the pandemic, people have to wear mask every day. So it was in a shortage and it was badly needed during this time. We all see that as in people living in Korea and China, we all have seen that the price of the masks go very high during this pandemic. But in my understanding is that producing the mask is quite easy. It's quite comparatively easy. So if this has there's a profit there, then many companies, they can easily go into the industry. That will make the price go down. It's also what we have experienced. But this kind of theory does not apply to the online e-commerce sectors. Maybe the thing is more about the connections. So if we compare these two companies, is that these two kind of industries, I would say the transformation of H-Bao is much more, for me, look like more contemporary because they're in shortage of the products. But in the long run, they might have to go back to their specialized area, like producing the plastics, because they're specialty and they have the ability to produce that. And in the long run, I would say this kind of a high profit, this high profit might not exist for the mask industry. And last point that I want to say that during this pandemic, it almost has impact on every industry, and but it does not necessarily that it will impact all the business on the profitability. No, I've seen some examples like in Korea. We've seen that during this pandemic, one of the industry that is very heavily impacted by that pandemic is the airline industry. The airline industry. So we have seen the international travel were almost totally shut down for like this international carriers like Korean Air, like one of the biggest airlines in Korea. It was operating like 5% of the regular flights during this pandemic. But actually, when I read a story, I think it's very interesting that during this second quarter, when Korea was heavily impacted by the pandemic, actually they make profits. And why in the past few years they struggle to make balance even. But what they actually did is that they used their passenger carriers to transport products instead of transporting passengers. So in this time when although we know that the passenger transportation was largely limited, but the product transportation is in heavily need. So they actually can help to using their existing industry, their existing facilities to do a new business. So it does not necessarily that in this time we see that when industry impacted by the pandemic, actually we can think about other ways how to transform or restructure their business model in a different way to make profits. That is my comments for these two cases. Thanks a lot, Professor Wang. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your comments. As I really appreciate. I think it's a very good advice for the technological issues. I think there are different standards about the face masks in China and in American. And for me, I talk this kind of questions with H-Bao's management team they told me that we have N95, we have N99 or above this. They need high criteria for the melt brown, and it's not easy to adjustment. And so if this number is higher, they need to invest more in the R&D and patent and all these kind of issues. And for the Genuine J is just worry about because their customers, their female customer is from 25 to 45. So they try to sell honey for 45 and they try to sell cosmetics at 25. They just wonder how to find the high correlation products. They're suitable for the 25 to 45 or even older female customers, and they just worry about such like the quality, the logistics, because if you sold it in the live broadcasting, maybe it's hard for you. You cannot guarantee about the logistics from Korea to China, and you lost your reputation and you lost the customers. And thanks again. Thank you very much. I will consider. So thank you.
Thank both Professors Wang and Chen for wonderful introduction of cases and discussion. And we wrap up the second talk with that, and we move on to the last one. The last one was given by Ms. Licia. She's founder and CEO of Shenzhen Power Solution. And Shenzhen Power Solution is a leading social enterprise dedicated to serving the bottom of the pyramid population in developing countries. And she was awarded New Energy Leader by Asian Development Bank in 2018 and recognized as the winner of 2018 Young Green Tech Summit. And please welcome Ms. Lee for her introduction about her cases, which is about how can manufacturing enterprises continue to help BOP during the epidemic period. Ms. Lee, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thanks for Professor Kim, and thanks for CASPA invitation to share our experience how we are fighting COVID-19. So I'm the CEO of Shenzhen Power Solution, also the founder of this company, and I'm also a mom of 3 children. I just got my 3rd baby 50 days ago. So I would like to share some of our experience. As Professor Song just described, SME is having a lot of challenge in this COVID-19. So they have the problem for the cash flow can only last for 3 months. And many SME around me is closing down due to they don't have the orders in the beginning of China COVID starting. And a lot of exporting companies are facing more challenge because when China is starting, they cannot open, they cannot do the order. And when the China is becoming stable and overseas market is becoming more serious, especially European, USA, even the developing countries like Africa or India. So exporting business company in China, SME, is facing a lot of problems. And because manufacturing is facing more challenge, we have a lot of production line workers. They need the basic salary every month to serve their families. So Power Solutions experience until today, we don't fire any staff, and we don't reduce any salary, and we don't get any bank loans. Even Professor Song introduced a lot of financial policies, but SME is maybe will be the last one to benefit. So our company is very good turnover last year, and even the income is very good, but we still don't get the bank loans because we are supplying to the developing countries and they think it's not stable to get the loans back from the bank. So that's why we are facing more challenge, but we are keeping very healthy financial by our own. So we would like to share our experience. And I would like to share a video about 3 minutes to let every audience understand who is Power Solution, what we are doing, and who is BOP, what is our business model. sorry. Sorry, need to start. No sound. Sorry. So thank you for watching. And this is regarding to our factory's background, who we are served for, and what kind of our solution, and what is the benefit for the end user. So we focus on 11 goals as we described in the video. And this is the currently situation. So many people, about 840 million globally, still suffering from off-grid, no power, no electricity. And they create a lot of carbons due to the lighting by kerosene, and about 5.3 million lives lost every year due to the kerosene fires and pollutions. So why we can create our business sustainable? Because we are in-depth understanding of BOP's need, designed for extreme affordability, starting from manufacturing process. And this is our comparison during the kerosene in Ethiopia family and our candle scaler for the solar products, which I showed in the video. So it's 3 times brighter than the kerosene and is more cleaner. Only 3 or 4 months cost, kerosene cost can buy a solar light, which can use for 36 months. So we save a lot of money for BOP also. So today our topic is about our solution to help BOP during the COVID-19. Since we are supplying to BOP, we are facing more challenge to compare with the commercial company because our profit margin is low. And the first of our solution is we develop new features on our older products. For example, we add a UVC lamp on our solar lighting. And also we find a lot of families, especially in developing countries, due to the lockdown, they need to work from home. And their electricity is not stable already. So due to a lot of family lockdown, they need more power. So we create laptop charging features on our solar home lighting system. Before it's only for lighting, fan, TV, but there is no charging laptop. So we add the new features to meet market demand. And our solution too is we create a new features, which is called a solar media. Based on the basic solar home lighting system, we add a 7-inch screen. As everybody knows, in the last mile, they have no power. Even they don't have any access for information. They don't have mobile phones, TVs, or even the newspapers, or even the radio. So we add a 7-inch screen, LCD screen, can just transmit digital contents to tell people how to how to protect himself against from COVID-19. So on the right picture is a farmer from India is using our solar media to see their local government promotions contents for how to against COVID-19, stay at home or something. So this is our new features to access of information and education with the solar charging functions. And the second solution is we support our local partners more. First, we have to deliver on time. Even like our factory is just opened by the end of February due to China lockdown, the virus. And how we can keep our delivery on time. We hire a lot of temporary workers. Even we pay maybe double or 3 times. But once we open, we hire a lot of temporary workers. And everyone from our company is going to the production line, even from the office staff and the engineering R&D department, everybody is going to the production line to help. And we can find another factory to assemble, not only our own factory because we shortage of the staff when we just opened due to the China lockdown. And we keep all the orders is on time. Even we send our first order to First Lady office in Ethiopia. Second is we stick to the original price, even the raw material increased. As just now, some professor also shared, raw material increased a lot in the epidemic time. So how we deal with this, we make a lot of orders forecast. We talk to our VIP customer about to collect the orders. So we make the orders together to talk to the negotiator with the raw material supplier, which quantity is double or 3 times than normal. When we don't have COVID-19, we don't keep any stock. So we only order the material according to the order. Now we forecast the order and combine all together, the volume is going up. So we get a better deal from our supplier. And we're working with the supply chain very closely. When the virus is starting from Korea, some of our IC is from Korea. We're working with our supply chain to find an alternative in China to keep the delivery and to keep the price. So the fourth way is how we manage the cash flow because we don't get any bank loans and even no credit or even no investment or something. So first of all, we deliver the fast cashback order first. We have so many orders in hand. We check the virus with the situation every day. Which country is becoming stable, which country is increasing. We keep talking to our customers every day to see which order they can sell first. In this way, we can get our cash flow fast back. And then we start to promote a mask, like the last case. We also start to promote the mask and the COVID materials like temperature thermometer or something. We also push the orders of faster moving models, like just now I mentioned, like a solar home lighting system with a laptop charger. In Nigeria, it's increased a lot. So some models is moving very fast in the different countries. We offer very quick delivery, like 10 days, which is before is 20 days or 30 days. So the fifth solution is we offer a flexible payment term for our VIP customers too. Before, our payment term is like a LC at site, or the deposit and the balance against the bill of lading or before delivery. So since the Sinosure, this is the China government policy support, Sinosure is guarantee our SMEs for the payment security. So we offered some credit like OA 60 days to our customers to help them, to support them to pass this COVID-19 cash flow problems. So this is also the support from the Sinosure. That means our company as a SME, we don't have any risk. If the customer don't pay, Sinosure will pay us the balance of the payment. So the sixth is we are making a lot of digitizing process. Before, as a manufacturer, especially for the production manufacturers, we think we must work in the field, in the factory. We cannot do anything online. But due to this COVID situation, it forced us to be online. For example, we start online meetings. When the COVID started in China, a lot of our staff from different provinces cannot come back to the office, especially in Hubei province. So we must be used online meeting so we can solve the problem to find the topics used online, this which we don't do before. And the second is we start working from different places. Not only our own factory staff is also working with our customers. Our customer in developing countries like Africa, India, they don't used to work online from different places. They always wish to meet. So we always visit Africa 2 times or 3 times a year by face-to-face discussion. Now, because of this COVID, like airline, international airline also stopped. They cannot come, we cannot go. So we must working from different places online. And we are using the ERP follow the data analysis to see, for example, we will see which customers, which order is moving faster and which area is increasing. So we are using a lot of this data analysis. And we start online training. Before we hire the staff, and then we hire the new staff. The new staff is in the factory for training. Now we start online training. You don't need to come to our factory. We will train you online. And even the interview, we find the new staff, hire the new staff, we started the online interview. No need to by physical interview. So, and the last thing is we're trying to improve in working process and failing. So maybe we don't have so much, we don't need to travel so much. So we have a lot of time to stay in the factory, and we spend a lot of time for discussion how to improve our efficiency of the process. And also we do a lot of filing jobs, which we don't have so much time to discuss internally, since everybody is out or go to travel to discuss with the customer and busy with the order. So we don't have so much time to sit down and discuss and filing. So this is what we do in internally in our own company to fighting against the COVID-19. So from 2009 and till 2019, the last 10 years, we provide solar lights for 4.9 million families across 63 countries. And we generated electricity 37 million kilowatts hour by solar only, since all of our products only generated power by solar. And we reduced the CO2 carbon emission is about 3.3 million tons. So we are not only serving the BOP to improving their life, but we also do a lot of contribution for environmentally protections due to replacing the kerosene with the solar light. So this is something about our background and what we did in the last epidemic period. So the last thing is I hope we can work with more organizations, foundations, or some international companies work together with the BOP with green energy. And even in the COVID period, we started to focus on our old customers and talking a lot, negotiate about the new product development. And we are also talking a lot to the international corporations like Total, the petrol company. So until today, we already signed the first contract with the Total, which they will promote our solar products in their petrol stations across the world. And we finished the factory audit before May, before the Europe COVID becoming serious. So we catch all the chances, and we're working very hard when everybody is complaining, especially like SME manufacturer companies in China. So why we can do it so well? The most important is we predict a lot of situation when it is really happened. So we predict before it is happened, and we do a lot of pre-solutions. So that's how we can avoid becoming suddenly affected or seriously affected when it is really happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee, for your sharing your story of the company. And on that, Professor Chang will give some comments or questions. Professor Chang Yongbong is a professor of management at Sungkyunkwan University, and he is the father of one daughter. Professor Chang, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
First, I would like to thank Ms. Mr. Richier for excellent presentation about the company. At first, I was very impressed by the fact that the company keep employees, didn't cut any salary for everyone during such a economic recession. As a person in the academic field, I would like to provide a few comments and suggestions after listening to your presentation. As far as I understand, this company provides integrated solutions from R&D, manufacturing to distribution. So I assume that the company is kind of vertically integrated in some sense because it covers the business, all the business process covers everything. One thing that I've coming up to my mind after listening the presentation is, given the nature of the products and the services that this company provides, the exchanges power solutions market is kind of contestable. It means that entry barrier is relatively low. I know after I listening to your presentation, this company delivers very high quality products and but you must recognize that as long as it is profitable, there should be a lot of new entries that may prevent your company's sustainability at risk. Therefore, it is important for this company to make sure that it keeps its operation continuously. One thing that I would like to emphasize is something about the supply chain configured in the production systems. As long as, if I understood correctly, the current system is kind of a push-based system. It means you anticipate the demand in advance and make an order before you actually realize the demand. At this moment, it could be okay, but if this kind of economic recession or pandemic goes on, it is very important for the company to have more flexible supply chain systems so that this company can respond to any kind of market change more effectively. To this end, if the company can design or make some adaptation to current systems for more flexibility, I suggested that it is important for this company to have a very tight partnership with local partners. That is kind of a way that you can easily meet and anticipate the demand in any changes. So always keep in mind that stabilizing demand is very crucial for sustainability of this type of business. Also, in future, if this company move forward to the next step, becoming larger, for that case, make your systems scalable as much as possible. Maybe during the operation, you might realize that we need to add something. Just the temporary investigation of the current issue is not good for in the long term. Therefore, ensuring scalability is very important. That's kind of things that I can make a suggestion for you. In addition, if necessary, provide any support, full support to your local partners. So you guys move together, go together. That's kind of a way that all together you survive and make continue to survive in the long-term period. That's my comment and suggestion, and thanks for your attention. Okay.
Thanks for Professor Chang's suggestions. I think it is really helpful. And actually for this COVID period, we also start to develop the new market. For example, we are trying to develop the market in China or even in US and Europe for outdoors or for emergencies. For example, in USA, there is a hurricane or some problems. So we are trying to develop some customers. And
that's good.
Yeah, and to respond your suggestion, the last suggestion is to work closely with our partners and to become more flexible. We already started our cooperation assembly in Ethiopia and Rwanda customers. So that means we deliver the SKD products to them, and the plastic can be made locally in Ethiopia and Rwanda. So the key parts from the PCBA, which contains the technology and our software program, will ship from China. So we are going to solve this problem by assembling in different countries. And recently in September, we are going to start our cooperation with the Indian local customer. So the same way, we will send the major parts, and some parts they will made locally and assembly locally and sell locally. So this will already start.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yes.
So I think your company is right on track.
Yeah, we are very quick. So that's why in the world, if you ask me why we can pass or we are not suffering a lot for this COVID-19 period, it's just because we are making very quick action. So for me personally, I'm very challenged because in this COVID-19 is happened, I just pregnant the third baby. So on the age of almost 40 years old, and then I still need to think very quick, make a very quick decision. And also to respond to Professor Chang, the new business model, we are also thinking, we develop very deeply in our business. We are not expanding in different area, but we deep in our area. So the new business model with solar media will across to information and education. So we will have new partners like local government, international organizations like UNICEF, WHO, UNDP for some information is built-in transmission. And also we are going to work with a lot of MFIs or the big cooperator, like maybe someday like Sony or Samsung, which is for social cooperation, social responsibility. We will build in their CSR programs to help the BOP people. And we are also thinking about the new business model to sell our carbon credit. So if you can sell your carbon credit, and then it's become a new cash flow or new profit channel. So we are now trying to develop the new business model beyond based on the solar products only, not only sell the hardware, but the new business model, something information to becoming the new profit incomes. Thank you, Professor Chang.
So you did a really big improvement in such a short time period. I wish you your best luck in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank Ms. Lee and Professor Chang for the wonderful case and good comments and good conversation. So with this one, we are done. So we had 3 presenters and 3 discussions. And in fact, I was concerned about this awkward situation because we are not meeting in person. So we are here in Korea and some of you guys are in China. So even though we are not together, but all the discussion we had was kind of happening on site. So I was happy about that. And again, thank you for your participation. And even though we are not meeting in person this year, I hope to see you in person next year. In fact, this is the 3rd year of the joint conference of the China-Korea Forum or Korea-China Forum, joint session with the Renmin University of China. And I hope this one is going ahead, not retreating. And that is all I can say. And in fact, I need to bring one person to your attention. In fact, I'm kind of emceeing here, but all the sessions have been organized by Professor No Eun-yang, who is professor at School of China at Sungkyunkwan University. Let's have her here. Let's hear her closing remarks. Professor Lo.
Thanks for your kind comment, Professor Kim. I have been attending this Korea-China Forum, which is co-organized by Renmin Business School and CASPA since last year. It is my great pleasure and honor as an alumna of Renmin University to attend this kind of work with Ranta. Actually, arrangement of these 3 session presenters was helped by Professor Xu Jingye, who is the professor in charge of Renmin University at the Korea-China session. 非常感谢徐老师. Again, thank you everyone for your active presentation and discussion. I believe and look forward to seeing this Korea-China Forum to develop further and further. And I hope we could see you all in Korea next year. Thank you very much. 非常感谢.
And we have some of the people who are not presenting. If you have any question from the floor, and this is the last chance to ask questions. Anyone? All right, then we are wrapping up all the presentations and discussions with by now. So again, thank you for your participation, and we hope to continue this collaboration. Even though COVID-19 is generating a lot of issues, social or economic, but academic collaboration is having another reason to work together with. So I hope to continue this thing together with you guys. That's it for this Chinese companies' responses to post-corona era. And I end this session with this sentence. Okay, thank you and bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.